Hey guys, so Clown in a Cornfield is a movie with a title that somebody really didn't put a lot of effort into, but it's based off a book, a young adult's book, and look, I can't say whether this is a faithful adaptation because I haven't read the book, but it's a young adult book, like I said, and that is obvious. When you see this movie, there's a lot of jokes that are obviously aimed at a younger audience. Like there's two teenagers that are trying to escape from one of the friendo clowns and they have to use a phone with a cord on it and they have no idea how to use it.
Give us that back!
No! Oh. What the f***?
Go the cord, dumbass!
It don't be my phone!
And look, there are some moments that did make me laugh in this movie. So I'm not going to say it's altogether horrible. It's definitely not the worst movie that I've seen this year. But it just didn't really entertain me the way that I wanted it to. I mean, it's a movie about killer clowns in a cornfield. It should be really fun, but I just wasn't really having a good time. So this is about a fading Midwestern town. A teenage girl moves there with her father. And there's this thing that happened a while ago, a massacre with clowns, and it's happening again. Yeah. You've seen this movie before. Maybe not with clowns, but it's like every serial killer type movie. But I typically love, so I feel like this is a movie I should like. And it's from the director of Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, and I think that is a great movie. They hit the comedy/horror type notes really well. But here, it doesn't really do comedy horror in a way that feels comedic or scary. Like, I did laugh a few times, yes, but it didn't feel like it was enough to really label it a comedy, but maybe other people will enjoy it. Maybe it just wasn't my type of humor. I didn't find it scary at all. And it's just, there wasn't even that sense of tension and dread and suspense. There was no build up to the moments that should be big moments. I mean, this is a movie about clowns. They have those wind-up jack-in-a-box. There's so many things that make this movie creepy. And cornfields. Like, have you seen Children of the Corn? Cornfields are creepy. Though I actually think it's Jeepers Creepers that really made me afraid of cornfields. But anyway, this movie should have at least had a few moments that were scary, even if it is for a younger audience. For me, it just feels like a movie that should have gone to VOD. It feels like a movie that would have done well on streaming. Drop it on Prime. Yes, that would have been a good movie to watch on a Friday night when you don't really want to pay too much attention. Like I said, it's not altogether horrible. It's a good rainy day type movie. But still, it's not a movie that I feel like needed to be out in theatres. It just didn't feel like a theatrical movie to me. So the whole town is basically stuck in the 90s. They have that sort of fashion, but it's meant to be in current times. So some of the kills were pretty interesting. It is quite gory. The soundtrack was good. The score was good. The acting was good. I feel like it was very campy and over the top, but that was obvious that was what the director wanted. It was intentional. I feel like this movie tries to be meta and do the Scream type thing and come across as really self-aware. And it wasn't working for me. So a major theme of the movie is the generational divide between the teenagers in the town and the adults. So spoilers if you aren't already aware by the title, because I've put spoilers in the title quite a few times and people are still mad at me in the comments. Like, seriously? Anyway, friendo, the killer/killers, because there's a whole bunch of friendos in this movie, end up being the townsfolk, the older people. And I saw that coming so early on in the movie. So they want to keep the town stuck in the past, and it's obviously a commentary on society as a whole and that generational divide that exists in every generation between the young kids and the older generation. And even though I am really over the old people are evil trope in horror movies that I feel like I've seen a lot of recently, it still could have been an interesting theme to explore if done correctly, because it is a very universal theme that speaks to a lot of people. But it fell short, I feel like, a lot with the dialogue. It was very cringy at times. It feels like a older person trying to write for a younger audience. And the teenagers in this movie, we see them bullying people stealing. They're just very mean-spirited in general. And then at the end of the movie, when the old people are revealed to be the killers, the teenagers are like, we're the better ones, we're the ones that are going to make the future better, and it just comes across as incredibly tone deaf. And if you wanted that message to land, then you should have made the teenagers likable. But I feel like a better approach would have been showing both sides, because obviously you shouldn't go and massacre a bunch of teenagers because you don't like them, but at a certain point, the older people had a point that these teenagers were very rude and entitled and disrespectful. And if they had explored how both sides had a point, it would have been a more interesting, well-rounded, fleshed out story, but there wasn't any character development. All the characters felt like caricatures, tropes, you know. There was the girl that was the stuck-up bully type. There was the jock, you know, and that's fine if you do them correctly, but it just felt like they were just caricatures. So some young adults movies still really land with me, but this is one of those ones that feels like it is definitely going to be more enjoyable if you are a part of that particular generation. There's the Y2K fashion, there's the running jokes like the teenager that can't drive stick, though to be fair, either can I. And then there's like the subplot that is tacked on that felt like it was only there to score political brownie points about the romantic lead being gay, and he led the girl on the whole movie, and it's okay in the end because he's gay, I guess. So yeah, it's going to appeal to that audience for sure, but for me, not so much. So ultimately, I just found it forgettable as a whole, social commentary aside. The kills were okay. Like I said, there were some moments that made me laugh. If you've got nothing better to watch, watch it when it comes to streaming, but I would not pay money to go see this in a theatre. I would give this a 5 out of 10. So let me know what you guys thought of it down below. If you've seen it, please like, comment, subscribe, all of that YouTube stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.